Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Around the Table GTA, Season 4, Episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about doing it before you have to. It's a habit that we all need to get aligned, especially if you're a person who wants to be successful. And success could be measured in many different ways. But one thing that a lot of successful people do is jump on an opportunity. I'm not sure if you guys been online recently, but there has been a trend of people doing some NPC TikTok thing. It does look ridiculous. And, some people could do it, some people can't. And it's kind of stunning with how human beings are. There's certain things that people get entertained by. You'll think it's completely stupid, and then after it becomes the next biggest thing. There's people who are making upwards of $4,000 a month or even per stream just pretending to be an NPC. And if you don't know what an NPC is, you could Google it. We don't have to go and explain all of that. But the reason why I'm starting this episode off with this story is that originally when I saw it, I saw a clip of a person saying that, wow, I can't believe someone's making so much money doing this. It's so ridiculous. So if you see me doing this in the next couple of weeks, it's because I'm trying to chase that bag. And if you don't know what chase that bag is, they're trying to make money, right? And then I saw a compilation pic or a compilation video, and the person ended up doing the thing that she said that she was going to do, and she became one of those NPC TikTokers and was making the money, right? And the moral to this story is that when we have an idea, when we see an opportunity, there's only a certain amount of time to implement it. You could implement it later, but will it be as effective? I've talked about this with the earlier episodes of the podcast where I wanted to do a podcast for the longest time, but I wanted to have my group of friends involved. And even now, after I've started it, my friends aren't involved. But the original thought was 13 years ago. So if I started doing the podcast when I came up with the idea, I could have been the biggest podcast out there. I could have been, right? Because I would have been one of the few people in the market. Now you see podcasts everywhere. And, that's fine. It doesn't matter if everybody else is doing it. You could find your lane. You could do whatever your passion is. You just need to find the clientele. That's basic business tactics. But at the same time, if there is less of your product or your service, it's going to be easier to make money, right? Sometimes I use the example of my family store. We started selling the African body beads a lot sooner than other people, and we sold it cheaper. So it made us more money at the time. But now it's so common that it's hard to move off of the shelves. So when you have an idea and you believe in it, you have the thought of it, you have a game plan, don't wait. Don't wait until you have to, because by the time that you have to, it's going to be harder than when the idea came into your head. Link with people, meet up with people, or just do it by yourself, because at the end of the day, sometimes you have to be the spark. There might not be enough oxygen, there might not be anything that catches fire, but being the spark itself is where everything starts. If you believe in the Bible, even if you don't believe in the Bible, everything starts with light. And you need to be that light in your life. No matter what's going on with you, no matter what has happened to you, there's always going to be an opportunity for you to flourish if you put the effort in and if you follow through with that effort in itself. The hardest thing to deal with, I don't know if it's the hardest thing. A lot of people argue with what is the hardest thing to deal with in life. Some people will say loss. Some people will say hope. Some people will say friendship. It depends what your challenges are in life or things that you're unsecure about. That's something that we can't control, whether it's in ourselves or it's within people who we love. But what we can do is make a game plan to overcome that. See ourselves at the end of the road. And that's the greatest thing that we could do. Whatever your goal is, having the end goal in mind, having what you would be doing once you were successful, and trying to work backwards in your mind process to get to that point so that when you're there, you'll be happy, right? Because that's what you think is the end goal, your happiness, or the end of your goal is where you'll be more happy. But at the same time, nothing is instant. We need to take the time to make these things possible. So you have to do it before you have to. Why wait until you get to 500 pounds to lose weight? Why wait until a friend dies before you go meet up with a friend that you haven't seen in a while? Why cry and regret all of these things that you could do when you could do it now? You don't necessarily have to see the support. You don't have to have the support. You need to start it, and everything else will eventually come into place. People will see your authenticity. People will see that you're committed. People will see that you're passionate. And then people will join you. Like, even with myself, I was talking to another friend of mine, and none of my main circle of friends have been on the podcast. They barely talk about the podcast. But that didn't stop me from creating the podcast. That podcast. I'm not even going to edit that out. But, sometimes people won't support you. Even the people that care about you the most, they won't support you in something that they don't think they should support you on, right? I love my friends, and I know if anything would happen, they would help me out. But certain things like this, I know that unless it got insanely popular, they probably wouldn't hop on. And that's not up to me to try to force them. And that's not up to me to make them feel bad about not supporting me. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people who end up supporting you end up as strangers at first. And then after, you become friends that way. Especially in the adult life that we live in now. And all of the distractions that we have. And all the things that other people are dealing with, it's hard to make time, especially if you're dealing with other things. But at the same time, even words of support, sharing, just being active, it helps. It helps a lot. And at the end of the day, it's not up to others to support you or to bring you up. It's up to yourself. Some people are able to climb the ladder and then bring people back up so that they could get to their level. Some people need the assistance to go up the ladder. They need that helping hand. Something interesting that I heard recently was somebody was saying that in a good environment, in a healthy environment, everybody stands on each other's shoulders. And I think what they mean by that is that when someone is going through something, you will help them up, right? Let's say I'm in a position of power. So I could control the access of certain things. So if I could bring my people up and people above me who may not agree with me, agree with the people that I've brought up, when those people surpass me because of their connections, they could also do the same thing and bring me up. Because there's that roadblock. Not everybody agrees with each other. Not everybody sees each other in the same light. Some people have that core memory of you and it'll never change. And that's fine because everyone sees things differently. And despite the trauma, despite the argument, despite how happy you are, not everybody is going to vibe with you. So you have to do it before you're forced to. I have two stories. One story is there's someone that I know who I don't like at all, but they're in a better position than I am. And despite our clash, despite us not liking each other, at the end of the day, if they know that I'm the best choice, they will bring me up, even though we do argue. Some people have rivals, some people have people who they generally don't like, but in times of familiarity and in times of quick action, sometimes your enemies will quickly become your friends because you guys are fighting for the greater good, or both of your causes are now aligned and you need to have that peace to better both of your lives. So, the moral of this story is that despite hatred, despite grief, despite trauma, sometimes we need to let things go so that both people can progress. The same thing's happening to me right now in my war game. I'm playing a war game and we have a union with a group that we've always had clashes with, and now we're working together to face the enemy, and we're splitting stuff off because at the end of the day, it's our server versus three other servers, and we want to come up on top. We want to be number one. And if we have to put our differences aside, we will, just so that overall the whole server will win. Yes, some people couldn't deal with this and joined other servers, but at the same time, right now, we are victorious because we are all working together and it's on different levels. So sometimes, like a day like this, it's a beautiful day outside, it was raining, the sun's peeking back outside. Take some time off social media, turn your phone off, don't tell anybody where you're going, go outside, take in the environment, and just think about stuff that you could be doing better, or even think about stuff where, wow, maybe I was in the wrong in this thought, in this argument, in this conversation. You're never always right. Sometimes you're the villain. Sometimes it's actually your fault. Sometimes you made a big mistake. This is going to a segue to the second story. And recently I was talking with someone, two people, and they got into a big fight. I talked to both of them. I tried to make peace for the both people. One person was more happy with what I said, and then the second person didn't want to really apologize, but they understood where they hurt the other person. And then I was talking with the person, and they said, "Oh, it's not my fault. I'm a good person." And I was letting them know that the words that they said, it might have been the truth, because they said something about, I always tell the truth, and that's why people get mad at me. And I said that it doesn't matter if you say the truth, there's different ways of saying the truth. Because similar to that person, I like to tell the truth. I don't lie often, because when you lie, you have to remember all the stuff that you've been lying about. And I really don't like trying to remember some stuff, because if I say what I said what I said. And if someone comes and says I said something different, I could be 99% sure that I didn't say it, especially if they're lying, because that doesn't sound like something that I said. As well as other people will defend me and be like, no, that's not the type of person I am. And that's a good thing about the truth. But at the same time, we have to have the emotional intelligence and realize the situation when you tell the truth. All right? Let's say you have a friend who smells bad and they're very emotional when it comes to certain things like that. You have to tell them the truth that they smell bad, but there's varying levels of that. You could be like, hey, yo, you smell horrible, blah, 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 blah. Or you could take them to the side. You could let them know all the positive things about them, and then let them know that you've noticed that. I'll give you an example. It's summertime, you know, you're awesome to be around, but at the same time, it's hot and it sucks. We're sweating a lot, and recently, my friend, you've been smelling pretty bad. I've been smelling bad too. I've been using like 2, 3 deodorants. Maybe I'm changing my shirt, but really, man, you've been smelling pretty strong. And I'm not saying this to offend you. I'm not saying this to make you feel bad, but it's strong enough that other people are talking. So I just want to let you know, in case you don't know, because I know that if you hear it from someone else, it might make you feel horrible, and I don't want you to feel horrible, but I also want to make you aware of how strong you smell now. You hear the difference between those two sentences, those two phrases, those two paragraphs? Either way, you're still telling the person that they smell bad, but they're going to feel different with the delivery, right? And in both instances, I'm telling the truth. Anyways, back to the story. So I was talking with the person, they're saying that they're a good person. I'm like, yeah, you are a good person, but you don't understand how other people feel. Because if you're a good person and you fight with everybody, you're still a good person, but the problem is that it's you. You're the problem, because everybody cannot be the problem. It's very hard, and it's very rare to be the case where everybody's the problem. You're the problem, and you need to work on that. And I had to tell the person the truth in that way, because they were in a mindset that they could do no wrong and it's everybody's fault. You can't always be the victim. And you're hurting people, and then you're blaming everybody when it's you that's hurting everybody. And you can't use the truth to gloss over how harsh your words are. Everybody has feelings. But getting back to the main point of this episode is, make sure you do it before you have to, right? If you want to get into shape, get into shape. Don't wait until you have a heart problem. Don't wait until you have cancer. Don't wait until it's a health issue. If you want to travel, don't wait until, I don't even know a good example for that. Don't wait until you get kicked out of the country. Don't wait until you have $1 million. If you really want to go somewhere, sacrifice, man. Take a loan out. And I know life is hard, but if you really need to travel, like if you really want to do it, budget, plan it, take a loan out. Do it for you, so that you don't regret it in the future. That is some weird advice. I think that's kind of a little bit off advice, but at the same time, there's no point in having this ho-hum, diddly, dumb kind of thought about it. Just go and do it. Don't put yourself into a situation where everything has to be hard. Let's say you want to start waking up early. Start waking up early. Start off with 20 minutes, then 30 minutes, then an hour. However early you want to wake up, do it. And make sure to plan it out. So I'll give you an example. If I want to start waking up early now, I'm going to choose a time that isn't too bad. Figure out what works for you. How many hours is better for you? I had a music teacher in grade 9 who said that people are odd sleepers or even sleepers. I don't know if this has any truth or merit, so just listen to it. Anyways, some people, if they sleep for 5 hours, they're fine. But if they sleep for 6 hours or 8 hours or 4 hours, they're sleepy. So find out if you're an even sleeper or an odd sleeper. After that, plan something in the morning so that you'll have something to do when you wake up. Okay, so let's say you want to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning for whatever reason. 5 a.m. What are you going to do at 5 a.m.? Have an episode queued up for yourself. Have your shoes if you want to go for a run. You know, maybe have a friend who lives in a different time zone to message you so you have something to do. Keep an episode or watch half of an episode, go to sleep, so maybe you'll have a dream of the episode, and then when you wake up, you're like, oh, damn, I need to finish this episode. You'll get up, brush your teeth, take a shower, finish the episode. You're already in the mood to be up because there's something that you need to do. Make it somewhat urgent, but it's not even really urgent because it's not pressure. It's something that you want to get yourself accustomed to and make it easier for yourself. Like in my previous episode, make things easier for yourself so that you could get to where you need to get to and start as soon as possible so it's easier as you can. Right? Summer's slowly leaving. It's going to be August soon, and that's fine. You'll probably hear this episode in August. But if this is your season, go outside. Don't make an excuse not to go outside. If it's raining, go dance in the rain. If it's too hot, take your shirt off, go outside. If it's legal where you are, if you're a guy, if you're a girl, right? Make it fun for yourself. Find something to do. I had like three different things planned today, but I feel like doing podcast episodes. And, I was like, hey, should I do episode? I'm like, I'm going to do it before I have to, right? Do it before the thought leaves. Do it before it becomes a problem for yourself. Do it because your future self is going to thank you for it later. Do it because you love it. Anyways, hopefully you guys like this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.